When we talk about Project 2025, much of the focus lands on its threats to democracy, rights, or the expansion of executive power. But quietly embedded within the Heritage Foundation's plan is an equally transformative agenda, a radical reorganization of the American economy. Pillar 4 is not just about deregulation, it's about dismantling the government's role as a public steward and handing the levers of economic control to private interests. This is not Reagan-style small government, it's not even Trump's tax cut populism. What's outlined in the Project 2025 economic vision is something far more sweeping, a systemic privatization of public functions, the erasure of regulatory protections, and the institutionalization of corporate preference as federal policy. The authors of Project 2025 frame their economic ambitions as a return to constitutional government and market freedom. But the actual proposals read like a corporate wish list. Environmental protections, to be gutted. Consumer safeguards, labeled administrative tyranny. Labor standards, considered burdensome overreach. In the policy papers, regulations are not tools to protect health, safety, or fairness. They are portrayed as existential threats to liberty. The Environmental Protection Agency, the Department of Labor, and even financial oversight bodies like the SEC are depicted as enemies of American prosperity. In short, if it curbs profit, it must be eliminated. One of the central tenets of Pillar 4 is the idea that the federal government should no longer directly provide services. From education to infrastructure to healthcare-related functions, Project 2025 envisions a federal apparatus that outsources wherever possible, not for efficiency, but as a matter of principle. Consider the plan to drastically expand school choice and charter schools, often privately run, while cutting Department of Education oversight. Or the push to replace public transportation investments with private sector initiatives. Or efforts to defund federal climate programs and hand climate policy over to market-driven innovation, a phrase often used to justify inaction. This is not a vision of lean government, it's a vision of absent government, where regulation and oversight are replaced by the invisible hand, and where the hand belongs to the most powerful corporate players. In one of the more ironic twists, Project 2025 rails against woke capitalism, accusing major companies of pushing progressive values on issues like ESG, diversity, and climate disclosure. Yet at the same time, the plan champions corporate freedom to pursue profit with minimal interference. The contradiction is striking. The authors want companies to be free, unless they choose to support progressive causes. The plan even recommends government action against ESG investing, effectively using state power to punish certain private sector decisions. This is not classical economic liberalism. It is ideological enforcement, picking economic winners and losers based on political loyalty. The transformation isn't only administrative. Project 2025 also calls for a legal strategy to cement its economic vision. This includes filling federal courts with judges hostile to regulatory enforcement, redefining the Chevron doctrine, which gives agencies leeway in interpreting laws, expanding legal protections for businesses to sue regulators. In short, the courts would be weaponized to prevent future administrations from reinstating protections. Deregulation would not be a policy choice. It would be a legal straitjacket. The role of government in the economy has never been perfect, but it has been essential. Protecting consumers from predatory lending, safeguarding air and water, ensuring worker safety, and preserving competitive markets. Project 2025 seeks to undo that legacy. It envisions an America where agencies are defunded or dismantled, corporate consolidation is unchecked, social protections are weakened, the economic playing field is tilted ever further toward wealth and power, and all of this is being justified not on practical grounds, but on the ideological belief that any limit on private profit is tyranny. Pillar 4 of Project 2025 is a masterclass in euphemism, hiding massive transfers of power behind phrases like freedom, efficiency, and constitutional principles. But the reality is clear. This is not economic reform. It is economic surrender, not to markets but to monopolies, not to liberty but to lobbying. The fight for democracy is not just a fight over elections or civil rights, it is also a fight over who gets to shape the economy, and whether our government works for the people or only for the powerful. Thanks for watching. Stay stronger, stay smarter, stay informed. Like and subscribe for more information and updates.